Welcome to the Recovered Life Show. You're tuned in to a new episode of Recovery This Week with your hosts, Damon Frank and Shauna McKenna-Vick.
Welcome to Recovery This Week. It's Damon Frank.
And Shauna McKenna-Vick. I love the intro, Damon. I love it. It's fantastic.
New intro. I figured, you know what? We've been doing, I don't know how many of these, almost every week. I thought we need a new intro. Shauna McKenna-Vick deserves an intro.
Oh, well, I love that. And you took me by surprise, and I'm delighted with it. So how are you doing?
I am doing great. I'd like to welcome everybody to Recovery This Week. November 8th, the week we got through, voting week. We got through another week of sobriety is coming to an end. I'm still sober. I know you are.
I sure am.
Excellent.
Sober, happy, joyous, and free. I feel feeling good. I will tell you, I'm exhausted, though. It's been real busy. I'm on my 17th day straight of work. I've taken no days off. And between doing interventions, driving to different states to do interventions, sober companion, taking people to detox. I've had 3 18 to 20-year-olds in different crisis states, getting them help. So it's just been, and I'm going straight till Tuesday. I leave tomorrow to go to take a client to a treatment center. Then I do another intervention. And then I'm home on Tuesday, and we'll see what that. I need to take 2 days off, though. I have to.
You have to enjoy your life too, But I think
there's a lot of people struggling right now.
Oh, huge!
There's a lot of people struggling right now.
It's hard, and I know a lot of people that are tuning into us on Recovered Life TV. They, I've seen some of the posts that they do on Substack and other places. Yeah. It is a struggle. People have a hard time finding jobs, and there's a lot of stress in the world. There is a lot of stress in the world.
And the 16 to 22-year-olds are the COVID generation that were in high school and college and starting and, in the real formative times. And so they've missed a lot, and there's a lot of anxiety and depression, and then substance use that's coming out of that because they don't have some coping skills. They, essentially there was a lot of trauma there, right? So you feel it in your bones and in your DNA, and there's just a lot of people that need help right now. And
well, I'm going to tell you, you're being busy, especially with younger people, tells me that there is no shortage of alcoholism. Alcoholism is not going away anytime soon.
No, it's not going away anytime soon. And, it's the drug use that really scares me because of the fentanyl. We know that about the fentanyl, but also just some people who aren't using substances that are just really having a hard time coping with anxiety and depression. And, I visited a couple of mental health treatment centers specific for young adults and adolescents. And I'm so grateful that we have them, that we have solutions, or we have places where they can go get a respite, learn some skills, learn some coping skills. And it's been difficult. It's been a difficult, 8 years, 10 years?
Yeah,
definitely.
It has, and I want to talk because I know a lot of people are talking about the 10th tradition of Alcoholics Anonymous right now. And, I'm just going to tell you, both Shauna and I could care less who you voted for. We don't care. We're actually very big proponents, especially in 12-step groups, of the whole 10th tradition.
Yes.
About not getting involved in politics and all this stuff.
Religion.
But look, all Substack all week. It's all politics, all the news 24/7. Religion, politics, it's always out there. So I want to do a really kind of more controversial episode about this, about politics and specifically Alcoholics Anonymous, but it could be any 12-step group, Shauna, about why they don't mix, about why it's such a bad idea to give political advice or political opinions in an Alcoholics Anonymous or 12-step meeting.
Yes. And what is our number one purpose? What is our primary purpose in a 12-step group?
Well, it's obviously to stay sober, right? And so
and
that
to
is
help others to achieve sobriety. And
absolutely.
It's open to everyone, all people. So it's to stay sober and to help others to achieve sobriety. So say someone who's a newcomer comes in, is feeling, a mess about the election or happy about the election, because you're going to have both sides, right? And you come in and you're, whatever, and you have a newcomer there who's trying to stay away from a drink, who may not align politically with you, and they go, screw this.
Yes.
I'm not coming back. And we've cheated them out of the solution.
And I saw this several years ago during the pandemic. If you remember, there was a lot of unrest, political unrest. And I saw this happen in my home group. And I saw a couple of people who had under a year of sobriety, and God bless them, decided that they were going to really turn the meeting into a political rally. And it was horrible because not necessarily because what they're saying, it had nothing to do with the politics. I don't really care about the politics of it all.
Right.
That's rather boring, honestly. We're here to talk about sobriety. But it was that primary purpose, Shauna, about turning people off, because it's not even if people agree with you or disagree with you. It's people think newcomers don't know. I didn't know when I walked in to a 12-step meeting what it was all about.
Right. Right. And if you have people in there talking about, so I'll tell you, when I was in my relapse and I decided, well, maybe I should start going back to AA meetings. I went into an AA meeting. It was a women's discussion meeting. It was not based in, literature or the steps. It wasn't solution focused. And I'm not, some woman was talking about shopping and whether to buy these Pottery Barn sheets and if they were good and worth the money, and that this is what she was pondering. And I'm sitting there trying to figure out how I'm going to get straight home without stopping at the liquor store. That's what I was worried about.
Exactly.
Right. I wanted to help me figure out how I'm not going to stop at the liquor store on the way home because I really want to stop drinking. And talking about Pottery Barn sheets or politics or religion, or that you have to join this church or that, or whatever. And not even saying your opinion, but even just saying the state of the world, or I'm really upset about what happened last night at the election, or I'm really happy about the election last night. Those words, election, don't belong in AA group. They just don't.
Well, there is a little, look, and if you go back in the history of Alcoholics Anonymous specifically, with the Oxford group and the Washingtonians and everything, the Washingtonians, and we've know through 12-step groups why this doesn't work is because the history of it, the Washingtonians, one of the reasons that they fell apart is that they were endorsing candidates. They were getting involved in prohibition in politics, and it's really not the place, honestly, in the recovery. But I think the biggest damage that I think the biggest confusion, and I wanted to bring this up here, is that I think a lot of people think when they talk about outside issues, okay, well, now that I'm sober, I can't have an opinion. But no, you can have your opinion. It's just you can't have it. It's not your opinion is not the meeting, right? It's not the meeting. And I think it's I think people are trying to do well because people are passionate about what they're passionate about. And I've seen this with religion too, more with religion, honestly, than politics, saying this is the only way, this is the way that we're going to do it. And for new people, I have to tell you, you could see them. And I'm just going to tell you this happened a couple weeks ago with me in a meeting.
Okay.
And I saw somebody that was new there literally say, I'm out of here. And the moment the meeting was over, ran out. And I'm saying, what was all this for? This is ridiculous. This is absolutely ridiculous to mention this in a meeting.
Yeah. So, when I think of people's differing opinions, right? Like, everyone is entitled to their own opinion. So I'm going to take a step back from the meeting and just talk about life in general. Everyone is entitled to their own opinion. We have core beliefs, Damon. I grew up a certain way and I have core beliefs, and part of who I am was fashioned on those beliefs. But it's not my job to change your beliefs or opinion to mine.
Absolutely right.
I am not saying my core beliefs are right. I'm not saying they're wrong either. I'm not saying they're right and that my core beliefs are the only way. So, what does the program call us to do? It's to have a common set of values of patience, tolerance, kindliness, and love. So, although you and I may have drastically different core beliefs or opinions, we can still come together, have a common set of values. I respect that you think differently than me, but I'm still going to treat you with love, patience, tolerance, and respect. Now, what I have heard is people say, well, because you have those core beliefs, and I think they are wrong, they don't say they are wrong here. That must mean you are this way. So
Yes.
you are a hateful person.
Yes. It's
right?
horrible.
That's not true.
And
That's
it's not true. And not only
Because
that,
your
let me
core
ask you
beliefs-
this.
Okay.
How many people have you worked with? I mean, I literally could give you a scroll of people that I've worked with in 12-step groups that I've
Mhm.
sponsored or helped out that I absolutely could not stand.
Sure.
And nothing to do with politics. I don't like the
No.
way they live their life. I don't like the decisions that they make. Many of them have done really horrible things that I don't know that I
Even
don't
in
agree with.
sobriety.
But I've spent even in sobriety, but I have spent just as much time with those people. And what I found is that this is the secret of the 12-step groups, Shauna, is that after a year, I start to understand people's humanity
Right.
and the things that they might have done or things that they believe that I don't believe in become less important because I'm seeing them as a human being, just like I'm a human being. Does that make sense?
Yes, I think, so you say, after some time and you've spent the time talking about solution with them and like how your higher power is showing up in your life, how you're showing up in your life
Yeah.
and turning things over to higher power and really going with the flow and you really got the program. It doesn't really matter then all those extra things because guess what all those things are, Damon? When you just said you don't care for them,
What?
what's that? It's judgment.
Yeah, it's judgment.
You are judging them against something you have set up. This is how I see people should be or behave, and you are judging them.
And you know
And
what
that's not your
happens?
place.
Those people end up coming to the middle just like I'm in the middle, right? People end up coming to and I've met, I don't know about you, but I have met and worked with all different types of people
Mhm.
in my 30 something years of being sober, a lot of different people. And I will tell you, a majority of them I did not like right at the beginning. Personally, I wouldn't hang out with them. But as it went along, you're right. I became less judged because it wasn't about that.
Okay.
By getting
I'm
them
gonna call you on
sober.
your shit to even
Yeah.
have to say I don't like them. You're putting them.
I don't. I'm going to be
against-
honest.
Right,
Not all
but
of them I
why?
love, You know what? I think I didn't like them because their personality was such that they weren't very likable, And honestly, I'm one of those people,
They
Shauna, so
weren't
I can
likable
say
to
it.
you.
They weren't likable to me, but they weren't likable to other people either. They weren't likable
So they
to
have their own
a lot,
quirks.
yeah, they have their own quirks. But the thing is what I've noticed is the great thing. I think what people are missing that drag politics into an Alcoholics Anonymous meeting or any 12-step meeting, could be Smart Recovery, any of that. What they're missing is the magic happens when we put all that aside, the judgment aside, the all of this other BS we put aside, and you start to see people as people. You start to see yourself in other people. I was much more judgmental when I first got sober than I
sure.
am now.
Yeah.
Because I would see in people, it's like, well, you know what? I act like that sometimes too. I just don't get caught doing it. Right?
Right. No, I get it, but like the judgment. So I learned something from my sponsor because I was a little judgy McJudgy, right? Like if people didn't, um, honestly, we talk about, you know, short fallings or character defects or whatever. And, gossip was one of mine when I was in my disease, and um, judgment, right?
Yeah.
And so working with my sponsor on how do I like overcome those, because what I want to see is the light in you. It's the word,
Exactly.
namaste means the light in me greets the light in you. How do we peel off all of those things to see that the light in you is the same as the light in me? We've covered it up with all these different things and opinions and stuff, but I need to see you just as that light that reflects my light, and we can grow brighter together. Now, that's all fine and good. But one of the things that helped me, like that's a good it is a very good concept, but how do we actually get there? Right.
Yeah.
And so one of the things my sponsor told me was, and reminds me of a lot, everyone has their own path. It's between them and their higher power, them and their higher power or the universe or whatever. And we do believe in, 12-step thing that we turn our will and our life over to the care of this thing, higher power, God, the universe, whatever it is. And that universe has a plan for me, but that God, higher power, has a plan for that person too.
Yes. Well,
And that's between the two of them.
by setting aside all of this politics, religion is where we really find out where that humanity lies. It's that connection, I believe, that's the magic thing about 12 step groups.
Mm-hmm.
That is the one thing that is magic, because on its face value, Sean, it makes no sense at all. I don't go to mechanics who don't know how to fix cars, that don't
Right.
have a track record of fixing cars to fix my car. But yet we will go into a group of people who could not stay sober for a day to help
Mm-hmm.
us stay sober, but yet somehow it works. It's that connection, you know?
It is the connection. It is the connection. And when you bring something in, even how you behave. So if I say I was really upset about the election results, or say I was really happy, and I come in guns a blazing and I'm like gloating, or I'm just, like, oh, I'm devastated.
Yeah.
Where are your tools? Where are your tools to say, I'm showing up and I want to be open to another person? And if I'm gloating, that's going to turn someone off. And if I am just so devastated about something I have zero control over. The only thing I had control over was to go and make my vote heard, but now it's done, right? Like it's
Yeah.
done.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that means a lot of people have expressed fear, right? So what does it say in the book? It says we ask God to remove our fears. We have tools for this, and at once he begins to remove our fear and show me what you'd have me be. And I can tell you that the book says, God, please remove this fear and show me what you'd have me be. That means show up for the other alcoholic, bring
Yes.
hope and healing to the other alcoholic. That, look, I'm struggling right now and I've got a lot of fear, but I know the book tells me that I have to let that go.
Yes.
That's the language we need to bring.
Absolutely.
Not that I'm stuck in this and I'm obsessing about it or I feel so happy, I'm just going to sit here and be like, yeah, hey, my guy won, look at all you. How does that promote hope and healing and say, that, like, so anyway, I
I'm
do
with
get
you.
a little frustrated by the thought that people are actually writing into AA.
Oh, yeah.
Because this
Yeah.
article that you referenced was
Yeah. I'm
people
going to bring that
writing
up.
to the General Service Board, right?
Yes, I want it. This is from, and because I thought about doing this because of this experience that I've had. I've had this several times. Obviously, if you stick around long enough, you're going to have a situation like this. But I thought, well, this can't be everyone, right? Not everyone has this experience. But there's a whole thing here, article from Alcoholics
Oh, no,
Anonymous
not
Cleveland.
everyone.
Yeah, not everyone, but that a lot of people. And it's saying here that they've received many calls and emails, right? And then there's also a Reddit thread as well on this.
Hmm.
So this tells me that this is something that's going
Oh, it's
on
happening. Absolutely.
with
People
a
are calling.
lot of people. Absolutely. And I just thought we'd bring it up in today's episode because it's people are going through this right now.
Right.
And
Damon,
they're hung up. Yeah.
Sorry. I want
No,
to
go
bring
ahead.
up an old episode we did, how to find the right home group and whether a
Yes.
group is healthy or not. If you're going to find the solution there or not. That's an old episode we did. Is are people in the solution? So if you're going to groups and you're writing the general service office because they're bringing politics or topics into the mix, that is not a solution-based group. Run far away. Go find a different one.
Absolutely. Matter of fact, this scenario, and I have to tell you, this scenario that I'm talking about with this situation that I had, this person was talking about how the group was trying to ban one particular religion and political orientation, but not
Ban it.
another intimate. Yes, ban it. Like have it so you could be removed permanently from and all this crazy stuff. And that's exactly what I told this person because he was very upset about it. And he was
I
just
would
like,
be
well,
upset
I'm
about
not
that.
really. And I said, well, you need to find a new group because this is
Yes.
not the spirit
That's not
of
AA.
alcoholics of AA or 12-step groups, And I want to just bring this up. And I know it's controversial. And again, Shauna, we could literally, I know, Shauna, we could care less who you voted for. It's really not relevant.
Oh, it's irrelevant to my sobriety.
To this,
Completely
but
irrelevant.
it's relevant to people staying sober, though. It
Yes,
is relevant to people staying sober.
It is because the solution is there. If you're filled with fear or if you're filled with gloating, it talks about those. Okay.
Well said. Well said. I have to bring something else up here. And I feel like I'm this stay off my lawn guy. So if I am,
as I get older,
apologize.
I feel like I'm a stay off my lawn lady.
Okay,
but then again, that's not showing up with kindness, patience, tolerance.
I'm not
and love,
showing up with kindness here on this one.
Okay. Okay. As long as you admit it.
Man, we're going to like public statements and all this other kind of stuff. Okay. So I want this jelly roll. Okay.
Okay.
So I don't know if you saw this article that came out.
I do not. You are so much better than me. I told you I've been working for 17 days straight. I haven't seen anything.
You have. So I'm going to give you a pass.
I haven't seen anything. So give me a pass on this. But tell me about jelly roll.
This was wrong. I'm not going to go because the Washington Post just keeps flashing up ads and everything. So I'm just going to go to KFDI as a source, 101.3, which did a summary of it. I'm just going to bring it up. So the Washington Post calls out Jelly Roll for his loose interpretation of the word sober.
Okay.
Jelly Roll calls himself sober, but still drinks and uses marijuana. He seems to be following the current trend in this country where true sobriety is being replaced by a type of sobriety where addicts consider themselves sober if they abstain from a specific addictive substance behavior, but not at all. Wow. Okay. Interventionist Shauna McKenna-Vick, take it away.
Oh, you're a jerk because you just got my shackles up.
This pisses me off.
Oh, yeah. Me too.
Because he knows better. He knows better. He knows better.
Didn't he? He went in front of Congress or in front of a special committee.
Yes.
To talk about the drug problem in the U.S. To talk about that, and so he's in relapse mode, okay, and he's in denial, and that's me taking his inventory. And I shouldn't say that, but he asked me as an interventionist. So like looking out over, and I would say, so help me understand why using mind-altering substances is okay for you right now. Are you working your program? Are you remaining abstinent? Like, So some people do use, and medicated assisted there. We've talked about Matt before. Okay.
Yeah.
I will
But
just say
that's
for
not what
me.
he's saying. Just to
No,
be
that's
clear,
not what he. No,
to
that
any-
is not
to
what
any-
he's saying. He is
and I
saying I
like his
drink and
music.
use smoke pot. I drink and I smoke pot, but I don't
Yes.
use heroin, fentanyl,
Well,
whatever
let me
it
tell
was.
you why this pisses me off. Let
Tell
me
me.
tell you why this
Tell
pisses
me.
me off. Is because this guy went in front of Congress. He's gone out on the stump, okay, and talked about all of this stuff. He knows dang well that this is not being sober.
Sobriety, no.
And people are going to buy this, just like they bought the marijuana is totally safe for people who are alcoholics and drug addicts, which they later find out, by the way, if anybody's listening, sorry if I'm pissing you off, it's not. It's not safe, okay? It's not safe.
No, you're still hitting the
Okay.
same dopamine receptors in your brain.
Yeah. And so just because I don't know if he was a heroin addict, meth, I don't know what he did, but
Yeah, I
because
don't know
he's
what he
not doing
did.
that, quote, he's sober. No, he's just not doing that. Now, I'm not belittling him for stopping that. Good for you. Good for you. Yes. Would I rather have somebody be doing marijuana than meth or heroin? Absolutely. But
It
this
is
is not.
No, hang on, Damon.
Come on.
I wouldn't rather them doing one or the other because
Yeah,
it's
you're
a
right,
slippery
you're right.
slope. When I was in treatment that final time, a guy said, I thought I could have a beer. His drug of choice was heroin. He said, and it is amazing to me. I grab myself a beer, grab myself a couple of beers, and 3 days later, I fall over and there's a needle in my arm. Like he was making fun of the fact that, just like poof, because if you're using, you're going to be taken back to your primary drug of choice at some point. So I am not mad at Jelly Roll because I am really sad for him. I'm really sad for him because he might not have another recovery in him. I will tell you that I do everything I can to stay sober, Damon, because my relapses were so bad over that 2.5 years. And I have another relapse in me. I don't have another recovery in me. And he may not have another recovery in me. And that one time that he says, because he's already under the influence, it's no big deal. I'll just shoot a little meth to take sometimes or whatever, could be the one time that takes him out.
Yeah, I
am angry that he is promoting.
Right. Yeah, I don't.
I am angry that he is promoting that this is sober because there is no one. I get the whole California sober. I don't get it, but I hear about it and people are very clear. I use pot, I don't drink, and I don't use other hard drugs. And they call themselves California sober. And I do this because they do this. It is called California sober, right? However, I haven't heard anyone say ever, well, I'm drinking and using pot, but I'm not using my drug of choice, so I'm sober. So I don't know what he's coming up with. I mean, the level of rationalization and justification for what he's going through. His disease is so loud, talking to him, saying, this is okay, this is okay, this is okay. It's going to take him out.
And look, my
if he doesn't course correct.
I come from a celebrity working with celebrities background. So I understand this. And this is why a lot of celebrities that I know, although they will say they're sober, they would never mention anything in the press about it ever.
Right.
They would never. And they would tell me like, look, Damon, I'm not going to say anything because I'll say, I think it's good to be sober. If you want, send me a DM and I'll tell you more. They're not going to really promote it, right? And especially ones that are on the bubble that are having a hard time staying sober.
Yeah.
It would be, I think it's more helpful to Jelly Roll to say, you know what, I've been able to get off of these drugs, but I'm still not sober, but I'm on these drugs and I'm trying to get off of these drugs, or I'm on the path to do this because this is where I want to go, right? Like but
he can't say that. What would he have to say? He would have to say, I'm no longer using class A drugs, but I do drink. I don't use my drug of choice, but I drink and use pot.
He'd have to, that's what he'd have to say.
And what he'd have to say is, for me, I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
He can't use the word I'm sober.
Well, you couldn't go into any 12. I don't think you could go into any form of a 12-step meeting and say that you were sober if you're
No,
occasionally drinking.
no.
I mean, and by the way, I'm not judging that he's occasionally drinking. I could like, honestly, I'm very lucky. I
Oh, more
always say this
power
to
to
people.
him. Lucky him
Like,
that he's not dead already.
yes, yes, especially with his past and everything.
Yeah,
I
lucky
just
him he's
really
not dead already,
feel
but I
I
wouldn't.
j- it is it's just not right. It's just not. I just think it's really hurts people. They're trying
Mhm.
to get sober because younger people look at him, they idolize him, whether or
Everyone
not
was
he
so
believes
proud of
that.
him. So proud of
Correct.
him
He's
for
in a
getting
position
sober.
of power. He's in a position of power, and then he comes in and says
It's
this.
abuse.
I think it's sending the wrong message, and I think you have a responsibility if
Mhm.
God has given you a platform like that to actually say the truth, right?
Right.
To say the truth.
But when we are in our disease, we lie, we can't handle the truth, we justify. That's what he's doing. He's in big self-justification. I really hope, hey, Jelly Roll, if you hear this, reach out. We're gonna help you out. Like
Absolutely.
God, I hope because a lot of people really, really like him and look up to him. And I would hate to think that there's someone who got off heroin that says, I can drink right now. Jelly Roll does. It's no big
Ye-
deal. And
yeah, and
then
I
they
think that's the
die. And then
message.
they die.
Yeah, absolutely. You know what? You're right on. And you're on the front lines of this, dealing with somebody, dealing with people all the time. It's that one beer. It's not like, look, I'm going to tell you, have there been times in my sobriety that I've wanted to drink really bad? Yeah, there has been. I'd be lying if I didn't say that.
Right.
You know what I mean? But doing it right, and then coming out promoting it, it's just a totally different thing in my opinion. But I respect him, and this is also the Washington Post article. I should cite them too, so they're saying that, not me as well. But you should definitely read that article if you could.
Yeah.
Shauna, this has been fun. What's up? What's going
It
on
has.
this week in your recovery? What are you doing? What are you focusing on?
Well, I told you I don't really finish this job. My next job, I have another intervention to go to till Tuesday. But in my own recovery, I still get up and pray and meditate every day and go to my home group at 6:30 a.m. And I still work with my sponsees. I carve out time to do my service work. So I am the only way I can actually continue to function, Damon, is by filling my cup with that. I'm a little empty, but I've also reached out to women in sobriety who help to fill my cup as well.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome. I've been
How about you?
I've
What
been
are you
really
doing this week?
well, I'm really focusing on building a network of people
Okay.
that I lost in COVID. I lost a lot of my
Oh,
network
yeah,
sobriety
yeah.
now, and I've been doing this for a while, but I've
I
successfully
know you've
done
mentioned
that.
that.
And I'm also working on having fun too in my sobriety.
Good.
That really is important to me. Like I want to have a good time.
Yeah.
Shauna, this has been fun. I think we pissed every possible person off that we could
Pretty
today.
much. Pretty much.
Yeah, pretty much.
Pretty
Pretty
much.
much. Yeah.
And a lot of our own stuff came glaring out too to show that it is progress, not perfection, right? Like
It is.
some of our stuff, our judgment and taking other people's inventory and making opinions on people. But we have a show, we get to do it, and I'm not saying it's right. We'll have to do a little bit of personal inventory maybe, and
We are. I'm going to reflect on this episode after I
we'll
see
put a
it.
rough.
Shauna
Yes.
McKenna-Vick, have a great week, everybody. We will
Thanks,
see
Damon.
you
Always great to spend time with
next
you. We'll see you next week.
Absolutely.
Hey, if you like this episode, think about supporting us by becoming a Recovered Life Plus member. At Recovered Life TV, we're not just delivering premium recovery resources, we're empowering you with the knowledge and tools that make a real difference in the quality of your recovery. By subscribing, you gain access to ad-free content, expert insights, exclusive video and audio segments, special projects, plus so much more, all while supporting our mission to spread the recovery message far and wide. Whether you're seeking to deepen your understanding or stay updated on the latest addiction and mental health recovery trends, Recovered Life Plus is for you. Subscribe now and start living your best recovered life. Just go to recoveredlife.tv and become a Plus member today.